From the New Arts and Media Studios in Milwaukee, I'm Charles Purcell. This is The Log. I had somebody at my place today. I'm still very slowly coming out of COVID. Very few visitors. I've opened my house up exactly, 3 times now. It's still so infrequently that I can count it on one hand. And it was great because it gave me a reason to clean up. I had let the place go. And without sounding too cliche here, I hate, that's my biggest fear. I hate being a cliche, but oh my God, are you having a hard time coming out of COVID? This is such a weird thing for me. And I guess from what I'm hearing, it's weird for a lot of people. Just not quite able to find our legs. You need to find your sea legs, or if you've been at sea for a while, you got to find your land legs. Have you had that experience? That's something I've had. I spent months and months at a time at sea. Well, I mean, we visited ports, so I was, but I spent so much time on board a cruise ship, because I used to work on a cruise ship, that when my tour was over, it took a while to get used to being on land again. It just didn't feel right. Well, I'm experiencing that again here with COVID. Mask or no mask, work or no work. I had a gig recently, my first post-COVID gig, out playing music, seeing people, going to, I haven't been to a movie yet. I can't imagine going to a movie. That just seems too strange. Although I'd like to see Summer of Soul. I've heard really good things. There have been a few good movies out there that I've heard about. But I just can't bring myself to do that. I don't go out to restaurants. Of course, I never really did that anyway. I wasn't a big restaurant guy. But yeah, just feeling right about moving through the world. And so I did have, I had a person over today for a little meeting, a little business meeting. And I was glad I decided to do it because it did give me a chance to clean up, or a reason to clean up, put it that way. And there's another thing. I mean, I can blame COVID, I suppose, for my own shortcomings. It's a handy little excuse, maybe. I don't know. But I'm not adulting that well these days. Adult as a verb came up a few years ago, and I kind of like that little development in the English language. Adulting as a verb is very useful. And I'm just having a hard time adulting lately. Just doing the basics, right? Buying nutritious food and bringing it home and cooking it, making decent meals, cleaning up after myself, making sure the apartment is nice and neat and clean, which typically I like. I'm kind of a neat guy. I like it neat and clean. And I had quite a lot of straightening up to do and old dishes to wash before my friend came over today. All right, well, I hope you're doing all right. I hope we're all doing all right. And now this God damn it, this COVID and all these yahoos who refuse to get vaccinated, and now it's just roaring back. Kids are going to go back to school. It's going to be so dangerous for them. This new Delta variant is much more dangerous, much more serious. It spreads more rapidly. It's more serious once you get it. And damn it, kids are getting it. There are children in hospitals. This is just, what can we do about these people who refuse to get vaccinated? It's all because of these people who refuse to get vaccinated. Hospitalizations and deaths are just starting to just surge. No excuse for this, none at all. And we still have the Orange Menace and the Republicans to blame for this, where they're cheering the fact that Biden didn't reach his goal last weekend at CPAC. Didn't reach the goal of 70% vaccinated by July 4th, and they cheered that. The disinformation, the misinformation, which is literally deadly. I don't know. I've got no answers. I don't know what to do about these people. Oh, okay. Well, all right. Let's not beat our head against that rock anymore. If you have any good ideas, please let me know. Today's a big day. Today's a big day. July 15th is when the new child tax credit officially rolls out. Now, this is really kind of an amazing thing. It's a little bit of a good news, bad news story. The good news is obvious. They've raised the child tax credit substantially, and instead of applying for it on your taxes at the end of the year, you get it throughout the year. You get a monthly check. $3,000 for children ages 6 to 17, and $3,600 for children under 6. So this really is huge. It's going to pull millions of kids out of poverty. I mean, it's fantastic. It's temporary. It's all part of the COVID relief package. So Congress is going to have to go to work to make this permanent because people just need this. Other countries have it. Other so-called developed nations have this. They've always had it. You have kids, you get some support if you need it. So this is really a fantastic thing. Analysts are saying this is one of the great social benefits of the last, 100 years. I mean, since Social Security, we haven't seen this kind of a benefit. So that's great. So now we have to make it permanent. And the bad news side of the story is, and maybe this is a small criticism, I don't know. I have this love-hate relationship with Democrats, capital D Democrats in Washington. It's like they want to do the right thing, but they're so Rube Goldberg about it. It's so convoluted. You have to go on some portal on some website, and you have to apply, and you have to submit a photo of your ID. You got to go through all this rigmarole. They make everything so damn complicated. And you have to qualify. There are certain limitations on who can and can't get this. Of course, I suppose, most people agree and understand about that you can't just give it to everybody. Well, see, that's where I differ. I've become a firm believer over the years about the concept of universality, just universal basic income. Just give everybody what they need. Just take out all the complications. And if you do that, it'll all come out in the wash. When you do your taxes at the end of the year, you just wind up paying it back. If you're a rich person who didn't need it, you just wind up paying it back. It's so much easier. It's so much more streamlined. But that's generally my criticism of Democrats. Everything they do is so complicated. It's, they want to give tax credits and they want to give grants and loans and all this paperwork to fill out, and you got to go through this website to do it. I mean, that was the initial criticism of Obamacare. It was the rollout was kind of complicated, and everybody, of course, all the people who didn't want Obamacare, all the opposite side, the Republicans who just seem to think it's okay for people to be uninsured. Of course, they use that as an excuse to criticize it. Oh, see, it doesn't work. Yeah, we just really have to embrace the concept of universality. Universal basic income, all basic needs met. We have all the money in the world. That's not the issue. The issue is just the people who freak out about it. It's the right thing to do on every level. Just morally, it's the right thing to do. Politically, it's the right thing to do. People would love it. Most people agree with it. Those who don't like it can go screw themselves because they're a dwindling minority. And listen up, dwindling minority. It's the right thing to do economically. You know me, I want to eliminate money. You're the ones who want money. You're the ones who want things to work economically. And providing everyone's basic needs works economically in your system, the one you invented, the one you keep defending. Basic free market capitalism works better if consumers have money to spend. It's so simple. Any credible economist will tell you. And all of these ridiculous scare tactics about how having to live on starvation wages, well, that's how you motivate people. That's how you incentivize people. If you just give them money, they won't have any incentive. That's complete bullshit. It's based on nothing except your own twisted ideology. You've got these ideas in your head like they're a religion, like they're tenets of a religion that you just can't shake. But they don't stand up to investigation. If you actually put these things to a test, you find that they're not true. People who have their basic needs met are not disincentivized to work. Just the opposite. They're free to pursue the goals they have in life. They can go out and find that job that they love. They can work hard. They can go to school. They can do the things they couldn't do before when they were trapped in these cycles of poverty that result in poor nutrition, poor health. You can't get ahead. You can't get a car. You don't have transportation. You don't have decent clothes. You can't get childcare. You just can't move forward if you're trapped in this cycle of poverty. Giving people just straight out, give them cash, man. It works. It not only works from my side of the ledger, because I'm just a bleeding heart who wants everybody to be happy and healthy. That's all I care about. It works on your level. It works for what you want. You want this economy to boom and it to be great. You want all this money. It works for you. You're always defending the owner class. You're always defending the capitalists. They benefit when poor people aren't poor anymore. Don't you get it? See, here's the thing. I am not an ideologue. I'm always yelling about socialism and social anarchy. And yeah, I'm spouting political philosophy all the time, but only because I absolutely believe it works. If I thought that capitalism worked, if I thought the free market was the best system for everybody, including the middle class and the poor, if I saw any evidence, forget belief, if you could show me the evidence, if you could convince me that it actually works, I would be its greatest proponent. Hail the free market. Yay for capitalism. I'm not tied to my beliefs because of an ideology. In other words, the political theory doesn't come first and then the outcomes come second. No, I look at the outcomes. I look at the evidence. I look at the history. I look at the facts right in front of my eyes. That's why I'm a socialist. That's why I'm a social anarchist. And that's why I'm an anti-capitalist. And that's why I believe profit should be, quite literally, abolished. There again, talk about religion. You're the ones who claim to be Christians. I'm talking to my basically white Christian men here, the people who rule America still. You self-identify as Christians. The Bible just goes on and on. There are dozens of references in the Bible to how money is evil and profit is evil and collecting interest on loans is evil. All these things are evil in your Bible. That's your Bible. It's not mine. Ay, 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 ay. So no, I refuse to accept anybody calling me an ideologue. I am not. I am absolutely not. Show me the evidence. I want evidence. That's all I'm looking for. And all the evidence shows me that socialism and social anarchy are the only way to go. Now, let's look at Cuba for a second. Now, I'm no big expert. I know the basic facts like you do. I'm always calling for socialism, but you have to understand that you can't just toss words around without clear definitions. Let's be clear about socialism. Socialism in and of itself is not antithetical to democracy. In fact, they go hand in glove just perfectly. It's the whole point. Now, you take a place like Cuba, kind of a mixed bag. Here's my criticism of Cuba. Not a whole lot of democracy going on. Okay? We've had the same people at the top since the revolution began. It's been Fidel, his brother, and now this new guy whose name I can't recall right here on the spot. So I'm not going to defend that. I'm Mr. Small d democracy. I'm all about democracy. So no, I'm not going to defend that. But I'm also not going to defend this maniacal hatred that the U.S. has officially had for Cuba since 1958. And the embargo is just insane. It's counterproductive. It hurts the people. It's been in place forever. And so now these protests come up. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert. I'm not there. I don't know what's going on. Just from my vantage point, just from reading the news I can find, people are genuinely upset because they don't have food, they don't have medicine, things are screwed up. Who are they mad at? Well, they're just mad at everybody. They're not experts either. Nobody's an expert. All I know, I don't have food to feed my kids. I don't have medicine for my grandparents. And somebody better damn well do something. So I guess I only bring it up, well, for two reasons. One, I'm not an ideologue. I believe in socialism, but I don't believe in dictatorships and authoritarianism, autocracies. Do leaders latch onto that sort of thing and call themselves socialists? Yeah, all the time. That's something we have to deal with. Let's just not all pretend to have all the answers. And let's especially not put our ideology first and then wrap our arguments around that. So it's so easy for corporate news and for right-leaning Americans to condemn Cuba all the time, that is the leadership of Cuba, and to look at this latest incident of protests and have all their easy answers. Oh, it's evil, evil communism. No, they're pissed off because they don't have food and medicine. And the U.S. blockade has a hell of a lot to do with that, don't you think? And the hypocrisy. The U.S. has an entirely different relationship with China as it does with Cuba. It has an entirely different relationship with Vietnam as it does with Cuba. So what's the difference? It just all comes down to politics. It comes down to Cuban refugees in Florida, a very important swing state, and you get all wrapped up in the politics. Again, I'm all about facts, evidence. Show me what's actually happening. And based on what I can surmise, we got to drop the damn blockade. We got to do everything we can to engage with Cuba. Obama did a lot of stupid things, but his policy on Cuba was right on the money. We got to open up to Cuba, engage with Cuba. The people of Cuba don't give a damn. They just want to live happy, healthy lives. In fact, that goes for everybody. That's the people of Russia, the people of China, the people of Vietnam, the people of Canada, the people of the U.S., anybody, name anybody, Brazil. It's high time we understand that the people running a country aren't the country. How did you feel while the Orange Menace was in office? Did you want the whole rest of the world looking at the United States and defining us by the Orange Menace? That he defines the United States? You want them thinking about us, the people, the populace, the same way they think about him? Of course not. Brazil is a beautiful place with a beautiful history and a beautiful culture, and they got this nutcase Bolsonaro. So here we have this beautiful gem of an island, 90 miles off the coast of Florida, Cuba. The most outstanding history and culture. It's this beautiful place with beautiful people. And we're going to just throw it all away? We're going to just give them the finger because we don't like Fidel Castro, who's now dead several years? You honestly don't think we could work with Cuba? They would love us. Just open up. Just open up. And even with the faults of an undemocratic regime, they still get a hell of a lot done. Their COVID, they're going through a bit. In fact, that's part of the protest right now. The COVID surge they're going through is still a minuscule fraction of the COVID rates that we've had in the U.S. They don't even compare. So they did just an outstanding job responding to COVID compared to us. And even in this current surge, they're better than us. Mortality for mothers and children at childbirth, healthcare generally, education, literacy, they outrank the United States in several categories. They do a lot of things right. Am I going to go to the mat for them? No. I believe in democracy. But I'm also not going to just turn my back on them and, even worse, support this heinous blockade. Yeah. You don't have to defend the Castro brothers and the new guy in order to call for the support of Cuba and opening up to Cuba. Absolutely, we have to. And the same thing with China, same thing with Russia. The people are not the government. And let's put to rest once and for all. I guess we have to keep reminding people of this. Those of us who believe in socialism, it's really simple. It's really simple. It's based on democracy. It's based on fairness. And we're looking at places like Denmark and Sweden and Norway and pretty much most of the developed world. We're not looking at Venezuela and the Soviet Union. And again, people who claim that are either incredibly ignorant or just lying to you. And based on what we've learned over several years, there's a lot of people in this country who are very comfortable just looking you right in the eye and lying. Oh, here's a new one. Here's the latest lie. Inflation. Oh, soaring inflation. Whew. Again, you don't have to be an expert. I don't claim to be an expert in any of this stuff, but it's just, there are basic facts. All right, COVID messed everything up, including the economy. Prices absolutely plummeted. Nobody wanted to fly. Nobody wanted to stay in a hotel. Nobody wanted to buy tires for their car. I mean, everything just plummeted. Certain sectors of the economy boomed. That's how the billionaires got more billionaire-y. All of the kind of Amazon buy stuff and put it on my porch kind of thing. But the actual economy out in the world spending just went haywire. So now we've come to a point, at least for now, we'll see what happens with the new surge. We've come to a point where everybody and their grandmother wants to get on a plane. They want to go out to restaurants. They want to do this. They want to do that. And of course, prices are going to jump. Again, like I said before, this is your system, not mine. This is not the system I want, this unfettered free market. No, this is your system. So what are you complaining about? Here's a little fact that they're not telling you. Current prices are still below what they were pre-pandemic. They haven't even come up to meet pre-pandemic levels. Yes, it's a surge of inflation. And you're going to hear the number, oh, it's the greatest rate of inflation in 50 years or something like that. Well, of course, that's the rate. It's an adjustment from this rock bottom the economy hit. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be an economist to understand the very simple basics of this. You learned it in high school, for God's sakes. Basic laws of supply and demand. Demand plummeted. Prices plummeted. Now, in very short order, boom, demand up, prices up. Adjustment. It's just adjusting. And we haven't even reached pre-pandemic levels yet. But they look you right in the eye and they have to know they're lying to you. At least the smart ones. And then all the dummies who listen and then just parrot the talking points, then they really believe it's true. Oh, the policies of radical socialist Joe Biden are causing the prices of lumber to skyrocket. Blah, 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 blah. Anybody could have predicted it, and 1,000 economists did predict it. COVID disrupted supply chains. And recovering as fast as we are now, trying to bring this thing back up to speed, is going to cause trouble. By the way, I don't know where lumber is right now. I read a headline just a couple of weeks ago that lumber had adjusted again. Remember when it was doubling and tripling and quadrupling in price every 48 hours? Well, I saw a headline the other day that it was coming back down to normal levels. This is what happens. It's like, it's like damn Bitcoin. The whole economy is so irrational and weird. Again, this is your system. It ain't mine. It's not my system. No. This is just the regular old exploitation of the owner class, of capitalists. Oh, demand is up? All right, we can gouge you. Price gouging. Call it what it is. A perfectly natural result of the system you're always defending. If you don't like it, well then join me. Let's be social anarchists together. If you don't like what's going on, I got some answers for you. Don't let the unfettered free market make all the rules. Don't let the owner class, don't let the capitalists, those handful, that 1% of the entire population, that has 90% of the wealth and 100% of the control on how things work around here. If you don't like it, come on over to my side. There was a new study out, I just saw the headline yesterday, that people on minimum wage can no longer afford rent. And one of the big excuses that people would make, well, it depends on what part of the country you're in. If you're in New York, no, it's very expensive. But if you're in the suburbs or out in the country in Missouri, that's quite different. No, this is full-time minimum wage workers. I'm reading the headline here from CNBC.com. Full-time minimum wage workers can't afford rent anywhere in the United States, according to a new report. Alicia Adamczyk is the writer of this article. People working minimum wage jobs full-time cannot afford a two-bedroom apartment in any state in the country. The National Law Income Housing Coalition's annual Out of Reach report finds in 93% of U.S. counties, the same workers can't afford a modest one-bedroom. The report defines affordability as the hourly wage a full-time worker must earn to spend no more than 30% of their income on rent, in line with what most budgeting experts recommend. This year, workers would need to earn $24.90 per hour for a two-bedroom home and $20.40 per hour for a one-bedroom rental. So, yes, people are affording it, but they're spending 40%, 50%, 60%, 70% of their income on rent. And then, as we alluded to earlier, they're eating lousy, they're in a cycle of poverty. Add a kid or two to this equation. Now you got somebody to take care of. You got a kid to take care of. Now you get those added expenses plus child care. Nobody making minimum wage can afford. You're going to spend literally more than your wages to send a kid to quality child care. And still with all the evidence, we have right-wingers and Republicans and conservatives defending the most indefensible policies and objecting to the most reasonable policies. And I'll go back to where I began. Universality. Just give it away. Every single person, just because they're alive on this damn planet, has the right to housing, shelter, healthcare, education, basic quality of life. Just because you're here among us. That's the only reason, no other reason. Give everybody what they need. There's no shortage of resources. There's no shortage of money. That's all the biggest lie of all. And if you're worried about so-called rich people getting free stuff, you know what? It all comes out at the end of the year. It comes out of their taxes. Just take it back. It just works. It's just simple. Evidence, facts are on my side. And I'll remind you one last time as I say goodbye here. I'm talking about your system. This is your system, the one you want, the one that's centered around money and profit and jobs and consumption. This is your system, not mine. And you don't even understand how it works. Okay, well, you know I love you. Good luck to us all. Go out and fight the fight. I'm Charles Purcell.